Good morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Wednesday, March 16, 2011. It's 11:30 a.m. Daylight Savings Time in the United States. It's 3:30 p.m. in London, 12:30 p.m. in Hamilton. Mexico City, it's 9:30 a.m. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. The situation in Japan apparently is worsening. Just as we're coming on the air, reports are coming in that the radiation levels at the Fukushima plant and also in suburban Tokyo now have spiked. The EU energy minister made a couple of comments just a short while ago. We're trying to track down what they were, but apparently the stock market in New York took a plunge immediately following those comments. The stock market's down about 107 points right now. We'll go to what we do know right now. Yesterday, actually earlier today, the Emperor of Japan, Emperor Akihito, appeared on television. In an extremely rare appearance, he went on live TV to make his first public comments about the disaster. He spoke after technicians had temporarily abandoned the nuclear plant because the radiation spike had gone up. Now they returned after he ended up speaking, but now they've also been pulled back now just a few minutes ago. 77-year-old emperor is deeply respected by the Japanese people. He spoke as snow blanketed the disaster zone. Temperatures have plunged below freezing. Many survivors there have little food, water, or heat. About 500,000 people have been staying in temporary shelters. 3,700 people are confirmed dead. It's expected that the death toll will increase to over 10,000. If we look at this seismic map from the U.S. Geological Survey just a few minutes ago, again, this is Aftershock City here. The blue ones are in the past 24 hours, and that red one in the middle is a 5.0, and that occurred 1 hour ago. There's still an awful lot of uncertainty seismically in that area. France has urged all French citizens in Tokyo to leave the country. 2 Air France jumbo jets have been sent to Tokyo to begin the evacuation. Australia has advised its citizens to leave Tokyo. Turkey has warned its citizens against any travel to Japan. The governor of Fukushima Prefecture, where the nuclear plant is located, criticized the government's handling of the crisis. He said the anxiety and anger felt by people in Fukushima have reached a boiling point. Tokyo Electric Power Company, which runs the plant, says 3-hour power cuts today would affect nearly 11 million households. The government said it had no plans to extend a 12-mile evacuation zone around the facility. However, helicopters can now no longer approach the plant to dump water on the exposed fuel rods because of the intensity of the radiation. In Tokyo itself, there were as few people on the streets as there would be on a public holiday. Many shops and offices were shuttered. The New York Times has an article today saying that apart from the $35 billion in insurance claims in Japan, the financial losses in Japan will most likely be borne by the Japanese government. Japanese insurers are all expected to bear a portion of the loss. It seems likely to exceed $100 billion in total. In the Kobe earthquake in 1995 that produced about $100 billion in losses, only $3 billion was covered by insurance. Operators of nuclear plants in Japan are expected to buy insurance through the Japan Atomic Energy Insurance Pool, but they're required to buy only coverage of about $2.2 billion for liabilities. And the pool does not sell coverage for earthquake damage, suggesting it'll be up to the Japanese government to again bear the brunt. The stocks of some American life and health insurers with operations in Japan sank yesterday as investors responded to the Prime Minister's warnings that the risk of radiation exposure had worsened. The biggest loser was Aflac. That's the insurer in the U.S. with the duck commercials, which sells a popular line of cancer insurance in Japan. Its stock fell 9.5% Tuesday before it opened. 75% of Aflac's business comes from Japan. Meanwhile, the holders of catastrophe bonds with exposures to Japan's earthquake are looking to sell their risk in the secondary market, but they are not finding any buyers. Loss estimates for some of the exposed bonds' trigger mechanisms have been hampered because Japan's earthquake reporting station, KNET, has been offline since the Friday 9.0 earthquake. About $1.7 billion in cat bonds are exposed to the quake, but the nervousness of investors waiting to see the extent of their losses has stagnated secondary market trading. The bonds were sponsored by global reinsurers such as Munich Re, Swiss Re, Flagstone, and Platinum. There have been many bids to sell bonds, but there have been no takers. It's hardly a surprise. A note from Deutsche Bank: last week's Japan's earthquake will sharply cut earnings at major reinsurers, but the losses from the disaster will likely amount to $25 billion or less for U.S.-listed reinsurers, and in Bermuda, the quake losses for those reinsurers could be as low as $5 billion. So that tracks with everything that we've been hearing. Flagstone made an announcement today that tentatively touched a little bit upon their Japanese possible exposure. As we reported yesterday, they indicated their losses coming from the New Zealand quake, but they said today that they had significant reinsurance protection for its Japan exposure. David Brown, the CEO, said they're still looking at the estimates. Mr. Brown said that it's still too early to make a reasonable estimate of the company's losses. We do have significant reinsurance protection in place for our Japan coverage. Subsequent events particularly will give the size of the loss. Despite the unprecedented series of events affecting our industry, we expect Flagstone to maintain its strong capitalization and maintain its best A- rating. Flagstone shares have fallen 20% since the close of trading on Thursday, the day before the Japanese quake. Another company in London, Flagstone's based in Bermuda, actually in Luxembourg, but Lancashire Holdings has announced the first quarter of 2011 that their pre-tax losses are estimated to be in the range of $45 to $55 million, mainly resulting from the quake in Christchurch at the end of February. The company said it was monitoring its underwriting exposures in Japan as a result of the March 11th quake. They believe it's premature to give a meaningful estimate until more information comes in. We'll go to a word from our sponsors and come back with the rest of the news. Couple of quick hits here. International facultative property underwriters are looking at a claim of at least $120 million from the East Japan Railway following the March 11th earthquake. Inside FAC understands that the final loss, in fact, might be a multiple of this figure. Apparently, Guy Carpenter was responsible for brokering the risk. ACE has come up. They've been hit by a $250 million Japan loss from the March 11th quake. The reinsurer said that they listed some of the other catastrophe claims. They said that they took a $115 million hit from the second New Zealand quake, $80 million on the Australian floods, and $15 million in the U.S. winter storms. They said that in the first quarter related to the Japan quake, for both insurance and reinsurance, they're expecting losses of between $200 million to $250 million. These are preliminary estimates, of course, because the details are still unfolding. One little bit of good news, Nissan said that it's going to restart operations at a plant in Japan. It's pressing on with efforts to repair damage and organize deliveries from suppliers. It's not known which plant they're talking about yet. Here's an interesting note. New York-based investment bank Goldman Sachs was considering a move to buy out AIG in early '08. This is according to a wiretap conversation that was played in federal court yesterday, where the founder of the hedge fund Galleon Group is on trial for insider trading. In the wiretap phone call dating from July of '08, former Goldman director Rajat Gupta said that Goldman was considering the acquisition of an insurer, including AIG. He said, yes, AIG was in the discussion mix. At the time of the conversation, Goldman was one of the largest counterparties to credit default swaps that AIG had sold. That would have been a nice, neat bundle, wouldn't it? The latest in the loss estimates from the second New Zealand earthquake indicate that they're hitting the upper band of the limit here. They're up to about $8 to $12 billion, which is where some of the industry prognosticators had indicated early on they would be hitting. This makes it one of the most costly events for the reinsurance sector. Flagstone, Arch, and Montpelier have all based their New Zealand loss estimates on an industry bill of up to $12 billion. In Bahrain, a normally peaceful kingdom run by Sunni Muslim monarchists, fighting with the Shiite majority now has broken out into virtually open warfare. Helicopters are hovering overhead, troops backed by tanks are shooting at demonstrators. Explosions and smoke are heard over the capital of Manama. 2 days ago, the Saudi Arabians sent in several thousand troops as part of a Gulf Cooperative Council initiative to help protect the Sunni government. The Saudis, of course, are Sunni monarchists themselves with a fairly substantial Shia population. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, the UN Security Council today is debating whether or not to approve a no-fly zone. Soon it's going to be academic. Gaddafi went on TV, here he is again, denouncing backers of plans for a no-fly zone over Libya. He urged Libyans to take up arms and prepare to confront an invasion by the West. He called the rebels rats. He denounced Western nations, saying they only want Libyan oil. He said France, Sarkozy now raises its head and says that it will strike Libya. Strike Libya, he asked. We'll be the one who strikes you. We struck you in Algeria and in Vietnam. You want to strike us? Come and give it a try. No one knows what he's talking about. Gaddafi's forces using air power are beginning preparations to take the rebel capital of Benghazi, a town of over 1 million people in the eastern part of the country. Terrible. Bad day all around. Our thoughts are with the people in Japan. And if you needed any comic relief, that fool, Charlie Sheen, is selling out shows in the United States. He sold out a show at the 7,500-seat Radio City Music Hall in 8 minutes this morning. He's giving tours, in which he's titled the tour, the Torpedo the Truth Tour. And 18 minutes he sold it out, not 8. I'll tell you, in the midst of all going on, there are still people who can pony up money to see a wacko like that. You got to be out of your mind. That's the news for today. If we see anything breaking in Japan, we'll come back and tell you. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.